Many of our software developers are farmers' children.
Yeah, I've
They,
heard. Yeah.
they want to do something close
Close
to
enough to
farming,
yeah.
but they themselves don't want a career in farming. The problem never has been coding. The problem has been software engineering, problem has been user interface,
Correct.
problem has been understanding the problems, and that I don't think AI is able to do as of now.
When we're talking about farmer financing landscape and the evolving climate uncertainties, how has Dvara e-registry solved for this?
Okay, so this is still a sort of developing area. What we have started with is a track record of the farmer in terms of producing some useful output over the immediate past. So in that sense, it's similar to credit history, because what credit history does is it looks at the financing of the farmer through earlier loans and what has been the performance of repayment, etc. So any creditworthiness assessment for any loan is basically you are assessing the risk of default.
Correct.
Correct? So one is what a credit score tells you is that is there a habit of default, or
What's the risk I'm taking when I'm giving you my money?
correct.
That's
If there is
about it.
so obviously that makes, so similarly, if some farmer has no credit history, earlier he would not have got any loan. So what is the history we are taking of? Does he have the means to repay your loan? And if I can assess that, and I am assessing that by assessing what are the crops and how they have performed on his fields. So that is one way. Now this is still a crop loan at a generalized level. What I see is that this will become more and more tailored for the kind of crop, the kind of inputs he needs, the kind of other tools and technology he may need. We are talking only about technology in terms of using it for credit assessment, using it for connecting, etc., etc. But technology is also something on which farmers need to spend. So if suppose they want to use AI technology, they want to do, let's say, micro level monitoring of their crop. So they will require some equipment, they will require some. Now, is that appropriate? Otherwise, it's like a government scheme. You give a loan, you give a subsidy to everybody without making individual assessment necessarily, right? Whereas the lending can be much more directed and much more tailored with the use of technology.
So here I have a bit of a underlying question. See, we spoke about adoption to technology in our previous episode, right? So one of the key challenges I see is one, lack of knowledge towards usage of technology and lack of awareness of whether this that is, if there's a technology available, there's lack of awareness of that technology being available, and secondary, how to use it, how is this going to be helpful for my assessment or for my growth as a farmer. That, how do we solve for that?
See, there are two kinds of technology developments. One which are sort of fundamental developments, which are probably input for that may never come from the beneficiaries, in this case farmers.
Okay.
Somebody thinks of a solution, like Steve Jobs used to say, that if he had asked a set of people, he would have never designed the way the iPhone he designed.
Correct. The
Right?
UI experience
Because
wouldn't have been the
that's
same.
a sort of, that's a different kind of innovation.
Correct.
But making our solutions work for the needs of the farmers, that's a different kind of solution. For that, one needs to constantly listen to your users, your customers,
Correct, the
all
feedback.
the time. So, and maybe Dvara registry may not be able to do the first kind of, because we are small, we don't have a huge team. But the second kind we can focus on and make it, for example, we are talking about market linkages. Why can't we capture all the transaction data of the farmers, what they are selling? Over a period of time, you will have a very good database to assess the repayment capability of every farmer.
Correct. Correct.
Correct? And this is hard data, hard
data,
transaction
yeah.
data that cannot be disputed. Correct? And of course, each farmer would have a track record of repaying the farm loans also, which are given.
Yeah.
And then there could be loans for specific things, like I talked about, for specific kind of devices
Equipment
to be
or-
installed, equipment installed. Now, people give, equipment loans without probably getting into whether they are really required, suitable. So that information, if that can be enriched with the knowledge that one has about the farmer and his field, that will be far more specific. Now today, if the farmer wants to buy a tractor, he can probably easily get a loan for a tractor from a bank because the tractor itself is collateral.
It's collateral,
Everybody.
correct.
But is the tractor, the kind of tractor he is buying, is it suitable for his farm and the kind of crops? This is something missing today. So that's an area where, if you offer this assessment to a lender, I believe at least that the lender would appreciate this kind of, and it will make it easier. The risk assessment is more tailored to each particular situation rather than following just some thumb
blanket,
rules.
yeah.
Like banks today follow thumb rules like this pin code is bad and that pin code is good. I mean, that's such a
Yeah.
very general level,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Whereas what you need, especially for smallholder farmers, is these kinds of tailored approach for risk assessment. And I mean, I can think of maybe a few ways right now, but there could be other ways we can discover.
Correct.
And that's the area where I think we need to focus on, because that would be our strength. We also need to set expectations right, because sometimes a lot of people believe that we don't need any programmers because we now have AI. The problem never has been coding. The problem has been software engineering. Problem has been user interface.
Correct.
Problem has been understanding the problems, and that I don't think AI is able to do as of now.
Fair enough.
Okay, it can, but if you pose a question, maybe it can throw you some answers.
It can give you the data for you to arrive at the end solution.
But
Correct.
that is important. I mean, we must start with ourselves, any technology adaptation. When we are convinced, we can convince others.
This is a challenge that has started paving the way for new types of lending related products to be introduced into the ecosystem.
So there is an opportunity, but we haven't seen many people offering anything in this, of this type at least. But there is an opportunity. Now there is another aspect to it. You see, usually if you compare the loan amount, which is generally towards the cost of cultivation and a percentage of cost of cultivation. Whereas the returns that a farmer is supposed to get are multiple times that. It's minimum, you can say 3 times the input cost
Understood.
is the value of the produce. Now if I change, so when I'm insuring the loan, I am insuring only a very small amount.
Okay.
Cost of cultivation and even a small portion of cost of cultivation.
Okay.
If I now insure the output, the farm production itself, it's much more. So business immediately becomes 3 times for insurance.
Understood. Yeah.
Right? and it covers the cost of cultivation too, because it's covering the output.
Correct.
So, and if these kinds of products can be designed, and we would certainly like to design such products, and they are acceptable to insurance companies. This can change the dynamics.
This can
completely.
change the dynamics,
Yeah.
yes. So, Ravindra, we are talking so much about the CATE score, and CATE score has been a very invaluable tool for assessment of farmers, their risk mechanism, and for lenders to also choose their risk appetite. But what exactly is CATE score? What are the components that define how the CATE score is arrived at for a farmer?
Right now, CATE score is a substitute for credit score.
Okay.
That's what it is as of now. Okay. Obviously, we intend it to be much more, but the reality is that as of now, that's its primary function. So, what CATE score basically tells a lender is that what are the crops that the farmer has grown over the last 3 years, right? And how the crops have performed, and what have been, if there have been any weather events, adverse weather events during this period, and how one could compare this particular farm with, say, another farm. See, it's also the crop mix is important. So, our scoring model takes into account whether the crops are the same crops or different crops are being taken, whether what is the crop frequency. For example, there are farmers who would take only 3 crops in 3 years because it's rain-fed land, so they may not be able to get a rabi crop. But there are farmers who may take 6 crops in 3 years, or some may take even 8 or 9 crops. So obviously, the farmer's creditworthiness also depends on number of crops. And what remote sensing allows us to do is actually assess whether he has taken 3 crops or 6 crops or 9 crops, and also tells us the type of crop he has taken. So we don't have to rely on the information he has told us verbally. That's where the technology matters.
It's authenticated.
Yeah,
what you're saying verbally,
yes.
it gets authenticated in the background.
Yeah, and that's why its reliance by lenders is more than just gathering this data.
What was the initial resistance for? Was it technical, was it cultural, or was it regulatory?
It's more process resistance.
Okay. So more on technical front, whether this will work or not?
Not technical also.
Okay.
Concept, it was not very difficult to convince people about the concept.
Okay.
But you see, all lenders, all banks, their processes are quite rigid.
Correct.
And it's not easy to get those processes changed. It takes a long time.
Correct.
Some of the big banks, we still haven't been able to get them to change their processes. I mean, they have their own reasons why their processes have been designed. But, ultimately, as I said, that we need to convince ourselves that we need to adopt that technology. So even banks, lenders need to adopt it to be able to grow the way we want to grow. Otherwise, we cannot make it more efficient.
Is this current generation more conducive towards technology adoption and scaling things when it comes to their farming practices?
See, this is a big problem. So whenever the second or third or whatever generation is interested in farming, they will be quick to adopt.
Okay.
The problem is second, third generation is not interested in farming. Many of our software developers are farmers' children.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
They want to do something close
enough to
farming, but they themselves don't want a career in farming. So that's the difference.
I'm coming from a very traditional mindset. I feel that what I am thinking, it has gone wrong in so many places, but there is a resistance towards adoption, right, which tends to happen. I want to know how that problem statement was addressed and solved from DER.
There was no direct adaptation of the technology by the farmer in this case, in the first instance. That should happen later once the farmer sees the benefit that at least I am getting a loan which I wouldn't have got without credit score.
Correct.
Once the farmer is convinced, then obviously then there is a better acceptability of some other offerings of that technology.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Correct.
So, for example, for farm insurance, that is the next step. So, but what you are talking about is a different problem. So, as I mentioned, the climate you cannot correlate because of the tenure mismatch.
Understood.
Okay, so that is not a factor that is entering directly. We are trying to sort of work and help the farmers by suggesting suitable crops and making them aware of the risks of different crops. Nobody is doing that. Nobody tells a farmer what is the risk. Farmer only sees if I plant cotton, I might get these returns. If I plant soybean, these are the returns I will get. But what is the risk comparison between cotton and soybean? That nobody is saying.
Got
right?
it. Got it.
So that helps.
And that is where we close the gap.
That is where we want to close the gap.
Okay.
I'm not saying we are doing it today, but this is something we want to do.
Okay.
So at least the decisions are more informed. Right? So if you look at it, I mean, for most crops, our yields are far worse than international. Is it because of lack of inputs? Is it because of lack of finance? And there are two things one has to keep in mind. See, we are still talking about working capital loan. The farm loan today is a working capital loan. It
Correct.
goes towards the farm inputs.
Correct.
Or some equipment and something like that. When you change the technology completely of farming, you go for hydroponic farming or something, there is a capital expenditure. Farmers don't have that capital.
Correct.
So that's a different kind of financing model one is talking about. And whether it will work with the same smallholder farmer or would it have to be a sort of collective model like the through FPOs, etc., that one has to see.
Okay.
Because that's a completely different proposition. Working capital versus
Was your
Yeah.
OPEX versus, yeah.
Yeah, because if you are giving capex as loan, then you are talking about tenures of a few years.
A much longer tenure,
Yeah.
correct.
And there, climate will play an important role.
Correct. And the loan tenure, everything else.
Yes.
I mean, all other assessments, and those are bigger risks from a lender partner perspective as well,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
it'll automatically translate. So one interesting other name that I've heard when I've spoken about Dvara e-registry is Dudrishti platform.
Yeah.
Could you throw some light on Dudrishti? What exactly is it? I heard it's a one-stop solution for all farmer, lenders, etc. You know, all their different services are listed. What can be offered? So I would love to know a little bit more about Dudrishti.
Okay, so the idea of Durdrishti is that we always had this sort of intermediated model of growing Dvara e-registry's business.
Okay.
And the key intermediaries on the one side are FPOs and on the other side are lenders. So it's not, Dvara e-registry is not itself financing, correct? So it is an intermediary model, but we need FPOs who would organize farmers. So we don't go approaching individual farmers necessarily. We approach through FPOs because they are already collective. So that access to farmers becomes easier.
Okay.
And because of that, because of this model, we developed this Duradrashti platform,
Okay.
where the primary users are supposed to be FPO officials.
Okay.
That is how it started.
Okay.
Okay. Then that was the first objective. Then when we started that, when we developed KidScore, we also gave access to this platform to lenders, so that the
Okay.
KidScore
There's
integration can happen
transparency
with
also
their
in terms of it,
lending
yeah.
systems
Okay.
and so on. Now the idea is that it has to, uh, grow much more, and it has to sort of spread its functionality to many of the processes that all the FPO members would be concerned with. Now, for example, we have now included milk collection module, because milk collection is an important side income for every farmer. So we are working with milk FPOs so that milk collection records can be maintained. So
Okay.
that is how these functionality get added, and the scope of the platform expands.
Okay.
Okay, and we are trying to do input aggregation, output aggregation through these platforms. It's not fully done, it's not fully integrated with the supply chain, etc. But that's the objective.
Okay.
So that, and you see, not everything necessarily will be built into this platform. Because if there are other agencies working in this area, we'll work with them. So wherever possible, because it's not possible to offer end-to-end solutions entirely with your own resources also.
Fair.
Right?
I see
Yeah.
that. Of course, it is scalable, but at this point, I mean,
No,
considering
but not everything, it's not worthwhile doing everything yourself, right?
fair.
Sometimes you just purchase some parts of the services, but you integrate with your platform.
Absolutely.
So that your
scaling
set
faster
of
by that.
participants, yeah.
And
So-
how many FPOs do we have in Duradrashti right now?
Well, 55 FPOs were founded by Dvara registry, but we are currently working with about 250 FPOs.
Okay.
Though not all of them were set up through Dvara registry.
Okay.
So that's a good enough number. Average membership will be somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 farmers. So that's the sort of addressable space that we have today. But we hope, with better platform, better tools, it could be adopted by others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ravindra. That was very interesting, especially in this episode. We explored how, while we have informal credit systems in village levels, how we have effectively formalized this credit scoring system and offered an opportunity for lenders and farmers being the bridge to bridge the credit accessibility gap in the village level and in the rural segments. And for the next episode, how the current technology can scale up and provide more accessibility to credit and transformation for farmers and the rural segment in India. Thank you so much.